Okay, hello guys, and hello Ma'am Riri as the lecturer of Prose class. We are group one, and here we are gonna talking about the theme, which is the one of the intrinsic elements of prose. So here is group's member, that is myself, Edward Dion Satria, then Hidayatullah Muharram Alfarizi, then Alief Nino Brylliant. Mereka kami yang di sini ini adalah nama-nama kami yang membuat presentasi untuk hari ini. And then this is the table of contents, apa yang akan kami bahas untuk presentasi hari ini, kali ini. Jadi pertama-tama kita akan masuk ke basic dulu, yaitu definition of idea or theme. Jadi disclaimer di sini, idea is similar to theme, so if you find ideas, that means it's that theme. Lalu ada the importance of idea or theme in prose, how to determine idea or theme in prose, and the differences of theme and action, which is the differences of idea and action. So the first one is definition of idea or theme. This is from the actually this is appear on the PDF. So the word ideas refers to the result of general and abstract thinking, but we're talking about in literary studies, ideas is related to meaning, interpretation, explanation, and significance. So basically, dalam literary study termasuk prose sendiri, ideas atau theme itu sama dengan meaning atau interpretation, explanation dari sebuah cerita. Lalu, apa pentingnya? The importance of the theme or idea in prose. So basically, when writing a story, theme should not be overlooked. Theme is fundamental to good storytelling. Theme is especially essential to give your characters an event meaning, a meaning that often leads to great spiritual or emotional involvement and realized by an audience. So basically, dalam menulis cerita, apalagi prose, theme itu sangat-sangat yang paling fundamental. Kalau nggak ada tim, karakter atau event yang ada dalam di cerita atau prose kalian itu nggak ada maknanya. And thus, idea or theme is vital in the literary works as it is a way for the author to communicate what they want to say to its reader. For example, William Blake in The Tiger describes the faithful symmetry of a wild tiger in the forest at night. But the poem also expresses ideas about the inexplicability of evil and the mystery of life. The next is about how to determine idea or theme in prose that will be presented by Nino. So Nino, your time for presentation is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dion. Next is how to determine idea or theme in prose. So ideas are not as obvious as character or setting. To determine an idea, you need to consider the meaning of what you read, and then to develop explanatory and comprehensive assertion. Your assertion need not be the same as those that others might make. People notice different things and individual formulations vary. So there are 6 steps to determine a theme. The first one is identify the plot of story. So when reading the story, note down the main literary elements such as the plot, tone, characterization, settings, etc. The plot of the story is the way the story elements are arranged. The setting deals with the environment where the story occurs. The tone is the emotional feeling of the writer expressed in words. Next is identify the subject of the story. You should be able to identify the subject of the story, analyze where the writer measures in his or her description. Next is now the protagonist. So knowing and analyzing the protagonist is very important in identifying the theme of a story. get to identify and list both the physical and non-physical attributes of the protagonist. Next is identify the conflict. The main character is always involved in a conflict. As a reader, try figuring out what exactly the main characters in conflict with, or what specifically they are struggling with. The main character can be in conflict with several things. They include conflict between the main character with another character, with the society. It might be a conflict within himself or with the force of nature. Next is get to know how the conflict is being resolved. So how the conflict is being resolved in the story is a way of identifying a team. Whoever gets out the winner in the conflict is a clue to the writer gives the reader on which force is greater and better. And the last one is get a conclusion. Study the main character, the conflict he was involved in, and its resolution to determine what the theme of the story is. By understanding the lessons learned by the protagonist in the story, the lessons can be generalized and applied to every character in the story. The conclusion usually summarizes the main points, and through it, you can easily identify the theme of the story.
Okay, Nino, thank you so much for the presentation. The next is about the differences of theme or idea and action. That will be presented by Rezi. So, Rezi, the time for presentation is yours.
All right, thanks, Dion. I will do the explanation of the difference. The main idea is the point of a story. It is what the author is communicating to readers about the certain topic. In another way, the main idea is the overall thought or summary of what the story is about. In other words, the main idea is the key thought about the topic. Action in writing means something that has story consequence. Action means that the protagonist either comes into contact with another character or encounters an obstacle or makes an effort to reach a goal or does something in the world of the story that is significant and moves the story forward. Next slide, please.
Okay, thank you, Rezi, for the explanation and for the differences of theme and actions. These two types can be a trap for you guys. So beware of main idea and action. And this is our references we're taking from the internet, but also we take from the handout from Erdiru that is appear on the Erdiru that is named handout team. So that's all for our presentation today. If you have any question, you can put it on the comment section in YouTube, or maybe you can just forward a message forward to us. So that's all for the presentation. Saya mewakili teman-teman yang mengerjakan presentasi ini mengucapkan terima kasih sudah menonton presentasi ini. Sampai jumpa.